It's another game where you shoot better than your opponent and you don't win. It's like we might be setting the NCAA record for a number of games where our field goal percentage is higher than our opponents, and somehow we don't win the game. I think they look at I don't know what the effective field goal percentage is, but that's like one of the number one indicators of wins and losses, and we could be the anomaly. But there was times I thought we executed really well. I thought we had a stretch there where we had some costly turnovers. Just some really poor decisions that I don't know what guys see, and you go back and forth sometimes, and you get the response of I thought he was going to cut, or I was making a read, and sometimes you can make bad reads too, and we made a couple bad reads there late in the game that I think really hurt our ability to either tie or take the lead, under 3 to go. But again, the effort was good enough to win. Our details weren't.
I know that late game execution has been something that they brought up, throughout the year. It's not like it was just this game. But for this game, is that kind of like what their defense sort of does? Like, you want to beat them down the court, but if you don't, you're still, guys maybe still looking for cutters, thinking that they beat them down the court, but they kind of sucker you. And I don't know, it's just kind of the impression I got.
No, I think they do a great job. Each and every possession is like a puzzle, and you got to be able to put the puzzle pieces together to find the right shot. And you can have the same puzzle, but the pieces fit together differently each time, right? And so, when we played up there the first time, we did a great job in the first half really attacking the middle third of the court, and then they took the middle third of the court away, and we didn't do a good job of maybe attacking corners, perimeter, right? Today, I thought we did a good job attacking the middle third of the court, but then there were a couple of times we tried to force it in there when that wasn't the play or wasn't the pass. Obviously, they have incredible length. Kane, Parrish, Towson, those guys up there are long and aggressive and active. Moore obviously is great with his ability to kind of just get deflections and be a pest. And so they make it hard, and we got to be as organized as we can be offensively. And I think there was times where, when we kind of go off script, that's where we get ourselves in a little bit of trouble, because, some of the things that we think we see, like you said, aren't really there, and that's sometimes what that defense does, right? You get into the teeth of that defense, and there's not really a whole lot of opportunities to get the ball out, and you got to be able to go strong and finish. We had a couple of nice drives at times in the second half that they weren't able to finish, and then again the turnovers. If you get, they had 5 turnovers, we had 16. 9 more shots they took. Those are the things that just kind of continue to plague us.
Is it a tough decision to call a timeout there with 5 seconds, knowing they're probably going to foul?
Yeah, I think they were going to foul either way. They're a well-coached team, right? And I thought it was more important for us to be organized more than worrying about their organization, because again, that's just kind of who we are. When we play off the cuff, it can be scary. So. I thought calling the timeout was the right play, and I thought we had a good action in, and if they foul us, they foul us, and then you got to go and we got to be able to figure it out with the next decision that's made. But I think had we called timeout or not, I think they're well schooled enough to be able to know that it's time to take the foul.
Turnovers were definitely an issue tonight, especially down the stretch in the second half. How deflating is that for you? Especially with how close the game was.
How much time you got? It's just killer. When we put our offensive keys on the board before the game, the first, value the basketball. Get a shot on the rim. Kick it up there if you have to. Get a shot on the rim. And then the last key was ball strong. So we're talking twice about how you have to take care of the ball. Brandon Stone has the ball, boom, Jalen Moore pops out of his hands. I don't know if we got any 50-50 balls, and that's obviously not part of turnovers, but that's being ball strong, right? There was a number of times where, they kind of dug out some 50-50 balls that we needed. Cam Ferris had a chance at a 50-50 ball that we didn't come up with. They end up with a basket, right? Those are the things that make the difference. There's such a fine line between winning and losing, and so throwing the ball away because you think you see something that might work 2 out of 10 times is a great recipe to not win games. If it's 7 out of 10 times, do it all day long. But we do some stuff that I don't, I go back and watch and I'll ask guys like, what did you see? It's like, it doesn't answer the question great. So.
Their late inbounds bucket for Townsend, was it communicated to you that it was supposed to be baseline and then it went to sideline? I saw there was an argument there.
Yeah, I was just yelling just for fun. I was told, one of our assistants was told it was baseline. I thought it was sideline from where they blew the whistle out. He was above the 3-point line. So that created a little bit of confusion in our timeout, and then they gave it to him on the sideline. But that didn't affect them getting the shot, right? And then after you try to investigate, like I feel like I'm like a detective trying to investigate what went wrong. It's just two guys that are not on the same page. One guy thinking that something's going to happen that doesn't, the other guy thinking that I gotta make this adjustment and play, and then Townsend gets a layup. And again, those are the things that they eat at you, because some of the stuff we do, it's like, is anyone listening? And it doesn't seem that we're always as focused as we need to be mentally in order to be able to execute in the moments where there's the most stress and the most difficulty.
This was a decent bounce back from considering the loss from the last game.
Yeah, the effort was really good. I thought we really fought in the second half. And again, we'll keep fighting and trying to figure it out, and we'll keep trying to coach those moments. Sometimes it's just a challenge, because it's sometimes in those moments you just have to have an understanding and a feel of the game, and you're trying to go over it and you're trying to communicate, and we're trying to communicate the best we can, and we talk all the time as a staff about how can we communicate better, why are we not getting the focus and the attention. Like, how about this? This was the first in my 15 years as a Division I coach. We have a timeout and everyone puts their hands in, and one guy says fight on 3 and starts to count 1, 2, 3, and one of the other guys goes win on 3. And so no one said any, I were you not listening to the guy who just said fight on 3? Like, where are you at? And I'm looking at Enoch Cheeks and he just starts laughing, and I'm like, that's like a microcosm of who we are. We're all in a huddle. Everyone's supposed to be paying attention. We're talking about what's going on. This guy's not in the game, so he's clearly not paying attention. And we go fight on 3, and then he goes win on 3, and I'm like, what just happened right here? This has never happened in any game I've ever been in, any game I've ever coached. We're not even engaged enough to know what we're saying on 3. I mean, that's basics of athletics at any level, and we're a Division I team, and that's what we got going on in the huddle. So you can imagine when it comes down to ball screen coverage and late game execution, how locked in we are.
And then you had the Chick-fil-A guy jump in there.
Yeah, I love that. I'm fine with that. He probably would have had a better chance of us knowing what to say on 3, because he had everyone's attention. I can't get anyone's attention.
Any other questions for Coach?
Yeah. Coach, what was the plan coming in to try and stop Kane, and did that change, if at all, after halftime?
You got to guard him. I mean, you got to guard him. He's one of the leading candidates to be the player of the year in the league, and you're not guarding him. You got to close out. You got to guard. You got to work. You got to move. The ball got late in the half. They tried to run a little backdoor play. His last 3, I think, in front of our bench. The ball gets passed, and we don't even move. They're throwing it to the best player on the court, and we're like, I hope he misses. I mean, he's 20 and 11 every night. So there's got to be some level of urgency, right? And someone's got to be able to take on that challenge of I'm going to step up and I'm going to guard this dude and make him earn it. We gave him too many freebies, and that's just not how you win a game.
There's an understanding from the players that it seems like you part of the frustration is that the effort is there, and you see that the details are the thing holding you back, right? It's little things that can take you guys over the top. Do you think that the players have sort of grasped that at this point? I don't know. It seems like there's a real difference between late in the game, actually doing it, and understanding that you need to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the problem is it's a process, right? And you got to build it every day. So it's when you're in those moments and you haven't really been in those moments, you have to be realistic with yourself about, okay, like I need all my energy to be focused on like what we're doing on this next possession. Like I can't be talking to the guy next to me. I can't be like yelling at the manager to get me water. Like I got to be locked in on this conversation here so that everybody's on the same page. And there's too many times where somebody's distracted, right? Somebody's not sure, or and literally, I mean, my assistants are after a timeout. You know what we're in? Do you know what we're in? Do you know what we're in? Right? Like, yeah. Like, and it's and we're trying to make sure we're covering our base, but there's also got to be like a desire of like, I want to win, so I got to know what I'm doing. I can't not gather the information necessary to be able to go out and execute. Like that last play where Townsend made the layup, or one of the last plays where Townsend made the layup with 4 seconds. Like, we never talked about switching one time. Like those words were never uttered. Like I asked Mike Islino as we went into the huddle, I said, "You think we should try and switch everything?" He said, "Not sure." I'm like, "Okay, we're in 5." Again, we thought it was underneath. We said, you got to be active on the ball, watch any lob type opportunities. Then they put the ball out on the side, and we switch. Or we think we're switching. And it's like, when did that happen? Like Mike Green fouled with 23, with 40 seconds left. There was 23 on the shot clock. Like we were down 3 with 51 seconds, right? And initially I had said, if it gets over half court, foul. And then I saw that it was 51 seconds in one possession game. And I said, no, we don't need to foul. Let's just get a stop, right? And Cleo's like, we don't need to foul. I'm like, we don't need to foul. No foul. The ball gets over half court, we foul, right? So it's like, everybody's got to be locked into what we're doing. And it didn't hurt us because obviously they just took it out on the side. But again, that's some of the stuff that, becomes problematic, because it's not just always in those moments. It can be in the first half. It can be, to start the second half. And, on Jerron Williams' free throw turnover late, we had called a play. We ran in the first half. Matt Mayers didn't do what he was supposed to. It was coached. We go back to it in the second, and he does the same thing he did in the first. And Matt, he played his butt off tonight. But that's some of the stuff that, teams that win recognize those things and they execute those things. And, they're frustrated, but you also got to be frustrated each and every day as you prepare, and each and every day as those details are being coached. Because believe me, like, the one thing that these guys will tell you is there's not a lot of times that they're not being coached, they're not receiving feedback. But we've got to embrace it, and we got to be able to execute it better in the moments we need it most.
Thanks, Ed.
No problem.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem. Hey, Ethan, when you come at halftime, mask off.
All right. Yep. Cool.